Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you how to lay out checkpoints for a road course. Well, I guess this one's more of a roval than a road course, but show you the proper way to lay them out. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'll do is delete all checkpoints. Alright, so you just built the track and now you got to do the checkpoints in it. So first thing you're going to do is go ahead and set your starting grid. Oh, I may have fucked up. Alright, well, for video's sake, we're going to go ahead and just make this a two-person grid. Oh, to get the big start-finish line checkpoint, if you want that, like I just had, you just set your first checkpoint as a big circular. Go back into delete options, delete all checkpoints. Back into checkpoints, set your starting grid. Boom, voila, now you have the big checkpoint. Alright, so for this particular track, it's a roval, so we'll go ahead and we'll start here in the bank corner. You're going to use a large circular here. You're going to go to the middle of the corner, which is about right here. Another large circular, and the reason I'm using those, if I use the regular checkpoint, it would probably be big enough if people stayed on the track at all times, but if you got hit down here, bumped down here, you would miss this checkpoint. So that is why indeed I'm using the circular. Alright, so coming up here to a chicane, also pit road. So what you're going to do here is in the middle of this chicane is where you're going to want the checkpoint. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll make that a large circular. You don't want the checkpoint here because if you put it here, when you get to this point, this checkpoint's going to be blinding and it's going to block the fact that there's a pit road in front of you and or a chicane in front of you. So you put it in the middle of the chicane like so. We'll put the secondary to number 4 in the pits. So if someone takes a pit stop, they will indeed hit a checkpoint. So then coming out of here, you don't need another checkpoint all the way until the entrance to the roval section. So this is a hairpin turn, and Timmy, this is what I want to show you the most. Whenever you have a hairpin, your checkpoint is going to be in the back of the turn, facing the way that you just came from, but slightly angled towards the way that you're going. So in this particular one, let's see if we could get away with a regular. So we'll put a regular here, and then a secondary behind it, hopefully, if it'll fit. Nope, not going to fit. So what we'll do is this is unfortunately going to have to be a large checkpoint, like so. The reason I wanted to use a regular here is because they're a little bit easier to see coming at them because they have multiple arrows. Like this one has 3 arrows signifying you have a tight hairpin coming up. So that's why I like to use those for hairpins, but in this situation it's just not big enough, because if I put it here, it's not going to cover the back of this turn. If somebody got pushed back here or got real wide and was scraping the wall, they would pass that checkpoint and not trigger it. So we're going to put a large there, again facing the way that you will be going. So as you're coming down this straightaway, you're coming towards this checkpoint, you can clearly see, okay, it's a hairpin, I'm looking at it, the checkpoint's facing the other way. That means I got to come down here and turn very sharply. So you come through the hairpin. Coming up to another chicane, it's going to be the same process as that chicane right here. You're going to put a checkpoint in the middle. Now on this one, I'm actually going to see if I could get away with 2 regulars again, because it's going to be easier to see going through there. That big checkpoint will be blinding, but 2 regular checkpoints won't be as blinding. So as you're coming through here, you see the 2 checkpoints, boom. So you head through the little tunnel. Now coming out of this chicane, we're also going to put a checkpoint. And that's a little different than what we did over here, and I'll explain why. So coming out, we'll put a big checkpoint right here. So the reason I'm putting one just outside of the chicane is when you come through here, boom, immediately that yellow is going to catch your eye. As soon as you trigger these checkpoints, you're going to see that number 7 checkpoint, and it's going to steer you away from this globe oil wall and target. So you're going to come through, boom, see the checkpoint, know it's a chicane, come over here. Okay, now we're heading into another hairpin. So same process as before. We'll try to get away with 2 regulars. It might not work, but it might work, so we'll try it. Okay, so on this one, it works. So as you're coming to this hairpin, boom, you clearly see the 3 arrows, sharp turn, slow down. So you come through, trigger the checkpoints. Okay, now coming out of that, we're going to go ahead and put checkpoint up here. This is kind of a weird section. We'll probably just put it here coming out of the turn. Okay, now you're coming up to a little, I wouldn't necessarily call it a chicane, but it's a chicane. We'll go ahead and put it right in the middle. You always just want to stay in the middle of the chicane, and it gives people a chance to see what's coming up. There we go. Okay, and for the last turn, it's another hairpin. Now, just by looking at it, I could tell you it's going to be too small of an area like this was for the 2 doubles, so we're just going to do 1 big checkpoint here. Okay, sometimes you can't center it because the cars will be in the wall, so obviously it's not going to let you do that, so you just move it up a little bit, back it up as much as you can, right there. Kind of face it towards the straightaway, boom. And that's it, and then you go back to the line. So let's go ahead and test it. So what you want is when you trigger a checkpoint, you want to see the next checkpoint. So as you can see, boom, hit a checkpoint, you see the next one. Boom, hit a checkpoint, you see the next one. Okay, shit, I got a chicane coming up. Boom. Oh, see the hairpin checkpoint? Gotta slow down. Okay, come out of there. Chicane coming up. Oh, I see the next one. Left. Hairpin. So checkpoint layout is really one of the most important things of any track. If it's not laid out properly, people won't be able to diagnose your turns as they're approaching them. If it's laid out properly, it makes it much easier, especially if you don't know the track, to know what's coming up. So if you see that checkpoint facing the other way, like it's facing at you, you know you have a hairpin coming up. The difference of that is, and I will show you, so let's go over here. Let's change this checkpoint to like how you had one of your tracks there the other day. So you had a hairpin with a checkpoint like this, and then one right here. Now on a NASCAR turn, that would be totally appropriate to have them on the entry and on the exit. But let me show you what this looks like in contrast to what it just looked like. Okay, so now as you're approaching it, it just looks like a left turn, you know? So you're approaching it, you go left. Oh shit, that's not a left turn. So that's the difference between having the right checkpoint and not having the right checkpoint, is it completely guides you or doesn't guide you to where you should be and how you should approach that particular turn. So yeah, I mean, so on the NASCAR tracks, Timmy, it's gonna be that. It's gonna be entry, apex, and exit. So like on the oval section of this, hey Conan, how are you, buddy? On the oval section of this, yeah, you're gonna have it on the entry, on the apex, and on the exit, just like you said. And that's every oval turn should be just like that. Entry, middle, exit. But when you start getting into chicanes, I mean, this is how I lay mine out. This is how Koning lays his out. You're going to put the checkpoint right there in the middle. Okay, and then on a hairpin, don't lay them out like this. This was just the example. You're going to go ahead and put it in the very back of the hairpin like this. Okay, and then just kind of point it towards the next straightaway. And that's how you lay it out. So I hope this helps you out, guides you. And yeah, man, happy creating.